Benilde picks it off, a shot and a goal. The third time tonight. Ball is stripped and there's Laurinaitis with the football, and he's going to go for a touchdown.
Premier on the header, and it's a goal!
Swings it for Bryant, three-pointer, it's good!
Swing and a miss, outside pitch. 2 strikeouts for Nishek.
Welcome to a special CCX Sports presentation, the 2021 Hall of Fame show. I'm Jay Wilcox.
And I'm John Jacobson. Since we started our Hall of Fame in 2004, 72 athletes and coaches have been inducted into our hall. Today, that number grows to 76. So let's get started with our first inductee for this year. A great basketball player who helped establish a winning tradition in her high school program. A terrific basketball player and a great leader on and off the court, we welcome 2014 Park Center High School graduate Cayla McMorris into the CCX Sports Hall of Fame.
Wow, was that nice.
Cayla started for 4 years at Park Center and capped off a great high school career with a state championship in March of 2014.
That was just our goal from the start of my senior year. We knew that we could make it further than going to the section, being a section runner-up. We know that we could make it to state. We had a new coach coming in my senior year.
And just getting to state was a big deal after near misses in previous years.
The first 3 years we would always get so close and have to play De La Salle, lose to them, then we finally beat
13 seconds,
them.
McMorris, pull-up shot is good.
Chris Vanderhyde was in his first season as the Pirates head coach in Cayla's senior year.
There was a lot of drive and motivation in the girls to be able to beat them and move on to the next level.
So just kind of getting over that little hump and being able to bring home a state championship to my hometown school.
The Pirates beat Marshall in 3 overtimes in the title game, with mostly a freshman lineup on the court by the end.
We were down 9 with about 9 minutes left.
Veterans McMorris and McKenna DuBois had fouled out late in regulation.
I'll never forget, on the Williams Arena and we're on that floor, and the feeling of being down in that environment, and Cayla just took it upon her shoulders to make sure we weren't going to lose. She was unbelievable in that last 9 minutes.
Cayla finished her remarkable prep career with 2,115 points, a school record, and one that stood until this past season when it was broken by Adalia McKenzie.
I knew she was going to be great coming up. She deserved to break the record. She was averaging like 40 points per game, so I knew that would come. But I was happy for her just to have another, black female athlete here be able to do that.
After high school, Cayla headed east and played 4 years at the University of Wisconsin. Like at Park Center, she went through a coaching change during her career, but became one of the Big Ten's better players by her senior season, leading the Badgers in scoring.
I finally learned the game more. I was able to realize patience and being able to balance college work and basketball. I know sometimes you get to the point where you feel like basketball is all you do in college, but it's really not. It's just how you change your mindset and think about things.
From there, it was on to professional basketball in Europe, with stops in Turkey, Sweden, and Germany. The global pandemic ended her final season in March of 2020, but her time in Europe and the team in Germany were memorable.
Great experience, great country, good food. The people there were very friendly. A lot of them knew English. My coach is actually from Bosnia, so we had a bunch of different diversities on our team.
With no travel to Europe last fall, Cayla ended her playing career and pivoted into coaching, where she served as a varsity assistant at Benilde-St. Margaret's this past season. I believe she's now found her calling.
I was like, wow, this is what I really want to do, so why not start now? Just being around the players, and that's really what I want to think. I think they're at an impressionable age where you still have time to help them.
She helped set a foundation for success at Park Center. And from player to now coach, Cayla McMorris continues to leave a legacy.
Her face was out there amongst the young kids all the time, not just come to watch her play in the games, but she was interacting with them all the time, working with them all the time, and that's where legacy becomes something that becomes more longevity.
Jay, Kayla was a player who was talented as a freshman. I thought really improved over her high school career.
Yeah, just got a little bit stronger, a little more confident each year, and you could see her getting better and better, which doesn't always happen. You're right. She definitely improved and obviously ended her career in style there at that state tournament.
And Kayla is expecting, giving birth to a baby girl later this month. Congratulations.
Great story there. Still to come, we meet a hockey standout from Plymouth who was one of the best prep players to come out of Minnesota. Our next Hall of Famer is most remembered for one amazing night in a championship game on the ice, and it was part of a spectacular career. He was one of the most electrifying hockey players ever in the Northwest Suburbs. We welcome 2013 Benilde-St. Margaret's graduate and Plymouth native Grant Besse to the CCX Sports Hall of Fame.
Anytime you get recognized for some of your achievements, whether it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's cool that people still care, and yeah, I'm pretty honored to be a part of it.
The question isn't whether or not Grant Besse is one of the best players that BSM has ever seen. The question is he one of the best players who ever played high school hockey? And believe me, we had a lot of great ones come through here, but he belongs in the conversation.
Here's Besse going to the net. Grant Besse fires and he scores!
Besse put up dazzling numbers and racked up awards left and right for the Red Knights. As a senior, he was named Minnesota's Mr. Hockey, AP State Player of the Year, and Star Tribune Metro Player of the Year. He scored 30 goals as a freshman, 33 as a sophomore, 52 in his junior season, and 48 more as a senior. Besse's 272 points rank first in BSM history. He led the Red Knights to a state championship in 2012 as a junior, a season that had some highs and a very big low. It truly stands out in his career.
That was, what kind of, put, Benilde, up into that next echelon of, high school hockey teams. It was unfortunate that, that came along with, Jack's injury.
While he had many spectacular nights on the ice, hockey fans statewide remember Grant's dazzling 5-goal performance in the state title game in 2012 above all else.
It's kind of still a blur. Like I know what happened. I've seen the videos of what happened, but in terms of real true memories of what was going on, it was just kind of like a blacked out moment where you're just in the zone, and you couldn't miss that night.
He's already got 3. Scores!
Some people forget that you hear about 5 goals, but it was a shorthanded hat trick. 3 of those goals were shorthanded. So it really, 5 goals is enough of an accomplishment, but you think the 3 of them are shorthanded. Pretty tough to see that being duplicated anytime soon.
Besse went on to have a solid 4-year career at the University of Wisconsin, playing for Badgers teams that had some ups and downs during his time in Madison. Grant led the team in points in his sophomore and junior seasons and was an alternate captain later in his career.
It was unfortunate that 2 of the 4 years I was there, we weren't as good as Wisconsin should probably be. But my freshman year, we were #1 seed in the NCAA tournament, won the big inaugural Big Ten championship tournament.
A 5th-round pick of Anaheim in 2013, Besse played a couple of minor league seasons in the U.S. before heading to Europe to continue his career. He's had stops in Germany, Sweden, and Austria so far. Maybe not exactly the way he'd planned it, but CCX Hall of Famer Grant Besse has no regrets.
It's been a blast. I've had a ton of fun doing it. I've got to, play the game that I love for a living, and I wish I would have made it to the NHL. I mean, that's probably past its time at this point to strive for, but I can still have fun and make a decent living, doing it. So yeah, I got nothing to complain about.
And John Grant is hoping to continue his career for as long as he is enjoying playing hockey, and he says right now he is.
He was sure fun to watch at Benilde, and he watched that story, and it's like, wow, the number of goals that he scored in his 4-year career is just incredible, and of course that state tournament performance, one to remember for the ages. We are headed to the wrestling mat to meet our next Hall of Famer, and later a football standout who's moved on to the highest level in his sport. We'll be right back.
While it doesn't get the attention of the hockey and basketball state tournaments, the action and fan support at the state wrestling tournament is hard to beat. Our next member of the class of 2021 in the CCX Sports Hall of Fame shined on the mat on the big stage of the state tourney. He's one of the most accomplished wrestlers ever in the Northwest Suburbs. We welcome 2008 Wayzata graduate Derek Schreiner into the CCX Sports Hall of Fame.
I was quite surprised, to be honest. At first I thought maybe you might be playing a trick on me or got me mixed up with someone else and you just wanted me to pine on someone else that was being inducted, just given the quality of athlete that you normally include in these things. But obviously, once I realized it wasn't a joke, I was very honored to be a part of it.
Schreiner won 3 state titles, 112 pounds as a sophomore, 119 as a junior, and 140 as a senior for the Trojans. But he didn't start out dominating on the mat.
My first state title, actually leading up to that, I would say a good wrestler, but I wasn't a great wrestler. When I had joined in my 7th grade year, my record was actually like 5-18. I was not very good. And then my 8th grade year, I went 11-12, so I just broke even. And then just about broke even. And then my freshman year, I didn't even make it to the state tournament. I had a pretty good year, went 37-7, but I took 3rd at sections and didn't make it to the tournament. And I remember after that, I just realized that I never wanted to feel that close to something and not being able to accomplish it again.
It isn't something he thinks about day to day, but being a 3-time champ is a point of pride for Schreiner. He didn't do it on his own.
I take pride in it, knowing just the amount of effort that people had dedicated to me to allow me to reach the goals that I had and actually surpass what I thought was possible at the time. And so there's a pride associated with that. And
he became so good at one move that to this day in the Wayzata wrestling room, you'll hear it referred to as a Schreiner tilt.
They told me about that. It was not called that when I was here at all. And then a couple years after I graduated, someone had mentioned that. That's definitely not the name of the move. I did not invent it in any way, but it was something that I did use quite heavily while I was in high school. And so obviously it was an honor that they continue to call that. But
the tilt series that he went out and kind of started to master in that 9th and 10th grade year of his career when he springboarded, that first state title and all that success. We've been coining that term, the Schreiner tilt, since then, and every kid in here knows it.
Schreiner went on to wrestle and study finance at Cornell at a time when the Big Red placed in the top 5 4 years in a row at the NCAA wrestling tournament. Derek didn't crack the lineup often, but he has no regrets about his choice to stick it out at Cornell.
I, at the time, wanted to be a part of the best program that I could. And Cornell was something that gave me exactly what I was looking for. And I knew there was going to be challenges. You step in that room, and everyone you're up against is a 1, 2, 3, 4-time state champs from their respective schools. And, there's probably 35 guys on the team, and only 10 actually get to make the team. But it was where I could develop the most as a person and as a wrestler. And ultimately, I didn't achieve the success I was looking for, but I grew as a person, and I think ultimately that was what was important. It's actually me who's looking back at you guys now and seeing what you guys are doing on the mat and in awe at the level of talent that's in this room and the successes that you guys have already had.
Though he lives elsewhere now, Schreiner does his best to follow Wayzata wrestling and stopped in to talk to the current guys at a camp in late July. Returning to the wrestling room brought back memories for sure.
You're stuck in this small room with a bunch of guys. You're essentially beating the crap out of each other day in and day out for a long period of time. And I think with that, you develop a sense of closeness with your teammates, and I think it just strengthens the memories associated with it.
Schreiner put his Cornell degree to good use, and he's doing well in the business world.
When I graduated Cornell, I went to New York City. That's very much a different animal than Minnesota and Ithaca, New York. It took me a little while to adjust, but I jumped into the finance world out there, working in advisory at first and then working ultimately for an investment company. Was out there for 8.5, almost 9 years, and then just recently moved down to Dallas, Texas. My wife's from Texas originally, and they have an office down there, the firm I'm working for, and so now I've relocated down there, which has a much more Midwestern feel associated with it.
And though it's been some time since Derek Schreiner was winning championships and helping Wayzata wrestling elevate its level, he's not forgotten at his alma mater.
He had the skill set, the knowledge base, he had the right character, and he's who you want your kids to be around, and he's who you want your kids to become.
Derek told the current Wayzata wrestlers how happy he is to see the program continuing to excel, and that he'll follow along from Texas as best as he can online as they compete in this coming season. And John, certainly an interesting story from Derek about how you can be a really accomplished athlete even if you're not a star from day one.
Stuck with it, got better, improved, and I like how he went to Cornell, and even though he wasn't wrestling a lot, he stuck with it. You know, it was a great university, obviously, and was happy to be part of that Cornell program and doing well now in the business world. So congratulations and welcome to our Hall of Fame, Derek. Next up, we induct a football standout from Park Center, who's now making plays at the NFL level. Our final Hall of Fame inductee is earning a pretty good paycheck these days, and it is his strong work ethic, dedication to his craft, and plenty of natural ability that got Amani Hooker to this point.
Step around the rush.
He is one of the best athletes to come out of Park Center High School.
And Hooker's got it!
And now at age 23, Amani Hooker is the youngest member of the CCX Sports Hall of Fame. He is also the second member of his family to join our hall. His older brother Quentin proved to be a great role model for Amani.
You know, my brother, you know, he was Mr. Basketball, and, you know, he went to North Dakota, and I just looked up to him as a person and as a player as well. I mean, he just did everything right. You know, he worked hard in the off season, he worked hard during the season, and, you know, he's an easy guy to look up to and use as a role model.
Quentin's sport was basketball. Amani played hoops too through his junior year at Park Center, but his passion was football.
He gets it away for Hooker, and it is complete.
Despite good sophomore and junior years on the gridiron, though, college offers were slow to come in.
You never thought he was going to college. And when Coach Wallace from Iowa heard that, he was dumbfounded. He said, "What?" And he's like, "Nah, I never thought I was going to go to college. I thought that was for other kids," because he came from a basketball family. And he couldn't believe it.
My first offer was actually South Dakota, and then I had like New Mexico and then northern Iowa. But Iowa came around in that spring, and I went on a visit there and fell in love with it, and then just was there ever since.
With his college destination set, Amani could concentrate on his senior year of football at Park Center, and Hooker excelled. He played all over the field, quarterback, running back, and wide receiver on offense, and safety on defense. And his numbers were eye-popping. 9 rushing touchdowns, 7 receiving touchdowns, plus 14 touchdown passes thrown. And on defense, 11 interceptions, 6 of which Amani returned for scores.
I think my focus was knowing that I was going to be playing defense in college, so as the emphasis on myself as like, this is what I'm going to be doing, so I just put a little more effort and emphasis on my defensive side, and knowing that I probably won't be playing college ball on offense, and when I was playing offense at Park Center, I was just kind of out there just having fun.
He did everything, anything I wanted to do, he did. And we would just move him around with different formations. We would tell the kids, you don't have to knock him down. Just get in the way and he will find a crease. He's the best that I've seen come through Park Center.
Me and my buddies, we wanted to play, college ball, and we wanted, to get those offers. And for us, it was the way to separate ourselves was to do that film study. And high school is not that complicated; it's pretty simple. So if you can just break it down to formations, and then that limits all the stuff they can do, and that helps you to be able to make plays.
Amani was first team All-Metro at All-State in 2015 as the Pirates fell 1 game short of the state playoffs. Then it was on to the University of Iowa.
Yeah, I had a great time at Iowa. Every season was a winning season, won a lot of rivalry games, a lot of trophy games, and I had a great time. I felt like I got a lot of connections there, a lot of friends, built a lot of relationships, and I enjoyed myself. Every game day it was packed, and it feels like the fans are right on top of you. I'm walking out the tunnel every game, holding hands, coming out the back in black is something special.
Amani's game continued to grow. And by his junior year, he was an elite safety, earning all Big Ten and second-team All-American honors. He won the Big Ten's Tatum Woodson Award, given to the league's best defensive back.
It was a personal goal I had written down, but throughout the season, I wasn't trying to stress about it. I was just kind of letting my play for itself, and then if we win games, that's when accolades come for guys individually.
Hooker declared for the NFL draft after his junior season, and the next spring was selected in the 4th round by the Tennessee Titans, the only club he had worked out for outside of the hometown Vikings.
My one visit was to the Tennessee Titans, and it was good, and I kind of had a good feel for them. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew that they really liked me, and they actually traded up to get me, so that was pretty cool to show that they're interested in me for real. I am on a good team. It's a good coaching staff too, and a lot of guys are bought in, and it's a good home feel, and it's been going really good.
Now entering his third season in the NFL, Hooker is projected to be a full-time starter with the Titans in 2021. He's continued to mature and make the adjustment to the NFL.
It's a job now, you know what I mean? You have school, when you're in college you have school and, studying and, you have your tutors and stuff, but in the NFL you got free time on your hands, so you got to be mature enough, you got to hold yourself accountable to make sure that, you are doing your stuff in the off season, because you don't have, coaches or teachers right there holding your hand. So a lot of accountability on your part, and just making sure that you're actually putting that work in.
Amani Hooker hopes to be around pro football for a long time and plans to give back now to the high school program he came from.
I gave back a little bit, but I want to give back more. I want to have a camp next year at Park Center that I plan on doing, so that'll be real good. I know when I was in that Park Center, we didn't have guys in the NFL coming back to our school at all, so I think that'll be really good for young kids coming up to see that a guy just like them from Brooklyn Park, the same area, they can do the same thing I was doing if they just apply themselves.
Jay, one other thing that Coach Strong mentioned when Amani was talking about trying to decide between basketball and football, and he said, you remember how when your brother played basketball, the crowd would ooh when he'd make a big play. That's what they do to you in football. And he certainly was spectacular as a football player, especially that senior year at Park Center.
Yeah, a ton of fun to watch. And John, I have to admit now, when the Titans are on TV, I'm always kind of checking out for Amani. Watching the play, of course, but is Amani in there? Is he involved? And it's a lot of fun to see how far he's come, and just a great young man too.
Really enjoys Nashville too, so far as his new home for football. Well, and that will bring a close to our 2021 CCX Sports Hall of Fame special to a close. 4 pretty special athletes this year. We've enjoyed covering them, and we hope you've enjoyed their stories.
A reminder, you can see the Hall of Fame show on our website, ccxmedia.org, and it will also air on CCX1 throughout September. A special thanks to David Dobrin, Jason Malillo, and Roger Larson of our crew for their work on this show.
Thank you for watching our Hall of Fame special, and congratulations to our 4 new inductees.
What makes your community feel like home? Is it knowing what's happening in your neighborhood? Or when people know your name? Connections make us a community. For more than 30 years, Northwest Community Television has connected citizens, neighbors, even sports fans through video. You can learn about the latest news through our truly local newscast. We cover and air around 150 high school sporting events every year. For our cities, we air parades and city meetings that you can watch whenever you want. Then, any citizen of our cities can create and share their own original content. We'll even teach you how to use the equipment too. We have always provided you with a connected community experience, and as life gets busier than ever, we will continue to engage, inform, and inspire through CCX Media, so you can stay connected to the place you call home. Looking for local? Even more local? CCX Media gives you the option to connect with your community on multiple levels. CCX Create welcomes you, community residents, to connect and experience television in an exciting way. The free TV classes we offer will have you on your way to creating TV, and our wide variety of content can be watched at home or on the go. Connect to what's happening in your community. Visit ccxmedia.org.